You ready? Okay.
Oh my goodness, so white privilege. I actually wrote a blog about this one, and it really annoyed me, because the point I want to make, the first part of it is, when he says, why can't we just be human beings? When I was thinking about this one, this part of the text, it really irritated me because I really wish it were that simple, because I don't like when white people say, why can't we just be human beings? Because your ancestors didn't think we were human beings. That's why we were slaves to begin with. So I don't understand why they feel the need to say that when we've been treated like animals for so long, and actually are still being treated like animals when we get shot by the police and police brutality. And the whole white privilege thing, when I think about white privilege, I always think about, what am I trying to say? I think about the whole how they try, white people, they don't even try to do it intentionally. Sometimes I feel like it comes naturally, how they try to undermine us in society, where it's like the whole Black Lives Matter versus KKK thing. When the Black Lives Matter movement speaks out, it's this whole that they're a terrorist organization and that they shouldn't feel the need, they shouldn't be able to speak about this stuff because they're violent. But the KKK is actually an official organization that they have labeled. They have buildings and everything. So I always think about how can the KKK be able to be labeled an organization, yet Black Lives Matter is labeled a terrorist group. Some other things I think about, especially regarding this, is the whole justice system. Like she said, he is white and poor, but if he were to go to jail, he probably would get less time than a black person because white people never want to see black people win in society. So the black person would probably go to jail for 5 extra years than a white person would. Or it's the whole, like I said, police brutality thing where if a black person wants to get pulled over, he has to automatically think about what he's going to say, what they're going to do, whereas white people are so nonchalant about things. And when I think about white privilege, I also think about Obama versus our new president, the Orange Cheeto, Trump. When I think about him and everything that he says, it's sad that he got as far as he did, especially winning the electoral vote, even though he didn't win the popular vote. I think it's sad because he's sexist, misogynistic, he says all these things, yet because he was rich and white, he still got put through. But if we were to speak on President Barack Obama, it was like the whole magic Negro thing. He always has to hold his tongue whenever he has a comment because white people would not permit him to do what he wanted to do. And it's like people blame him for so many things that the past president did before him, and they only do it because he's black. Whereas Trump, if he were to mess up this country today, his supporters and other people would still believe that he is this great president who wants to make America great again. And so that's something else I think about white privilege. And going back to the text, when she talks about what she said. Going back to the text, the race privilege versus class privilege. When I thought about that part, the class privilege thing, Efemelu makes a point about that, saying how he does indeed have race privilege, but when he says the whole human beings line, that shows that he has his race privilege right there, because for him, being white, there's no problem with being white. He's allowed to say what he wants to say, he's allowed to do what he wants to do, and he thinks making comments like, why can't we all just be human? Because there's no problems he faces in life like black people do. The society, even today, still tries to undermine us so much. So, what am I trying to say? I lost my train of thought. Oh, another part of the text, when she was making the point about the caste system, and when I thought about this, I really thought about how people today still, when they're hailing a cab, black people don't get, sometimes they'll pass it off just to go to the white person, and I see that. What else about white privilege? In general, oh my goodness, I have so much. Let me see.
Seconds.
50 seconds left. Oh, I've been talking now? Oh, I thought I was on like 1 minute yet.
No.
Basically, in general, I just feel like white people need to start understanding, like the whole woke white people thing. I really love that post because there are some white people who will indeed do stuff because they do actually feel bad. But then there are the white people where like it was the shop and they said, why can't we recognize that she was black or she was white? Because white people like to ignore things like that. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So when you consider the blog post, because your particular excerpt was one of the blog posts that Ifeolu made in the text, right? She makes a lot of cases about different isms that kind of overlap. But in your estimation, do you feel that she was making a stronger case for racism in the text, or classism, or sexism, and why?
I think I would probably have to say racism because at the end of her post, she talks about she really wanted non-black people to weigh in because black people can speak all day about what's wrong, but black people I don't think non-black people recognize what what is the problem. Like I really think it was about the racism and colorism, how they don't realize these things. So I would have to say it's the racism aspect of it.
Okay. And what does Ifeolu or Adichie, because she's the author, bring to the concept of race, being a person who is from Nigeria natively, and really, admittedly, both in the text and in her own life, admittedly states that race was really not a construct that she had much exposure to before coming to America. What do you think her perspective adds to the concept of
I think her perspective adds just how terrible racism is in America, because I feel as an American black, I think we get so used to how things are, we get used to the oppression that we don't actually see what's wrong with things. And that's why I got very upset when Sharon made the comment that she wouldn't understand, because it's actually harder for her coming from a different country, having this accent, to get accustomed to things and going through racism and all these things. Whereas black Americans, I think we've just grown accustomed to the racism and oppression that we don't try to look at it as something that needs to be fixed.
Okay. So typically when someone either satirizes or seeks to shed light on an issue, they often offer some sort of a solution. Do you think Adichie did that? And if so, what does that look like? Because you talked a lot about her shining a light on the fact that, you know, race is socially constructed, and that here in America, you know, we kind of give this perception that it is not an issue. She talks a lot about racism and the fact that everybody identifies that there is in fact racism, but no one is admittedly a racist. How is that possible? So does she offer a solution?
From my perspective, I feel like she gave more of an experience and wanted people to open their eyes to what the problem was than having a whole solution. Like, the blog was a place to get away and express your concern, but I don't think the book as a whole really offered a solution on how to fix the problem. I think she gave suggestions, but I don't think as a whole, no, I don't think she tried.
So what were some of those suggestions?
Like, it's the whole woke white people thing. I think how she wants some white people to start speaking up more and do these things. What else did she say? It's so much, hold on. Like I said, the whole white people thing, she wants them to speak out. I think she wants other black people to start speaking out and coming together. That was another thing in the text where we had did the anticipation guide. You had talked to us, told us about how the whole self-hatred within their own race. I think she wants other black people to understand that we shouldn't be undermining each other and we need to get together too. That's what some of the other suggestions were.
And lastly, given the context, we talked about racism, sexism, classism, are there any other isms that you feel Adichie simultaneously champions to kind of subvert or uphold in the text?
I think she really shed light on colorism with in the couples like Kosi and them, how she was light-skinned, especially in Nigeria, how she was light-skinned, and that's how she got by in life, being pretty and light-skinned. Whereas in America, with colorism, I don't recall seeing a lot on it there, but I know in Nigeria that's what she spoke a lot on. But for in America, I think it was more about the racism and just her finding herself and seeing all these different isms.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Thomas.